Welcome to another edition of Bodyslams and Dropkicks. I'm joined by my co-host today, Dino, and unfortunately we are down the gully today, but he will be back next Sunday.
As always, he sends his love to everyone who's watching or listening.
We've had a lot happen in wrestling this week.
Too
Some
much.
titles have changed hands, and some wrestlers unfortunately have been released, and even one is possibly a free agent. And we're gonna go over a lot of stuff that's happened.
So, what do you want to do first?
Well, I guess we'll start with the big one, the NXT title.
Oh, should have just done it there and then. Shouldn't have let it go 2-2, regardless of what decision it was. It should have just been Finn Balor. I mean, no offense. Adam Cole has held that title for however long it is. He doesn't need it again. So, it's just pointless because I bet you and I can both agree that Finn Balor will win it on Tuesday.
I'm hoping he wins it because Adam Cole doesn't really need it. I think it's about time he moves back up, and Baylor really needs a title win to really turn things around. And I feel like they wasted the Iron Man match because Iron Man matches is usually like one of the biggest times you put a belt on someone, and they never needed to stretch it out, especially with the way the ratings have been for NXT.
Mm. So, all right, let's just run this onto things, shall we? What if Finn Balor wins? What do we think will happen? Who do we think he'll feud with? And same with Adam Cole.
I think Baylor would take on the Undisputed Era. I could see it as like a multi-man feud as Adam Cole slowly tries to wear him down for another rematch.
I could see that happening. But then again, it just depends who he's going to have as backup because it won't be Gargano or Ciampa because they'll be too busy with each other as usual. So I think it might actually be a genuine case of 4v1 unless either Velveteen Dream's going to get involved or it's going to be, I don't know, who else is there in NXT that could possibly do something? I would say Karrion Kross, but he's out injured, so it kind of limits the options as to who we can have.
Well, right now would be a good time for anyone to push up. I'd like to see Kushida get a title shot because he was amazing in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight division, and Baylor has a lot of history part of that division, and I think those two could tear down the house if they ended up going one on.
Outside chance AJ Styles comes to NXT.
I don't think Styles will ever go down to NXT to pick up some gold.
He might do, you never know, to be honest.
It would be interesting, though.
So, next question. If Adam Cole wins it, where do we see that going?
If Adam Cole wins it would probably go back to the whole status quo. He's an amazing talent, but I don't think he needs the belt anymore because there's not much for the Undisputed Era left to do unless they're gonna finally go at it. Because I could see Roddy Strong eventually breaking away and taking on Adam Cole.
And it might even go down the evolution route where Roderick Strong wins the NXT title and he gets kicked out of Undisputed Era. I mean, it's happened with Evolution on many a time. So and don't forget the Shield as well. So definitely possible.
Definitely, and I think Bobby Fish needs to get a few more titles under him.
That's it. We've won over every option that there is. I just pray to God there's not a third option where they basically either get counted out, disqualified together, or they pin each other. God knows what would happen then.
I don't think they could afford to stretch it out another week.
They can't. Right, so that's NXT sorted out. Shall we? In fact, there is a question that I do want to ask, and I have actually discussed this with you before we came on air. With the Tuesday Super Show, does that mean that NXT is officially moved to Tuesday nights?
It might be. There's not really anything on Tuesday, so it'd be a good time to really rake in all the wrestling fans and at least a bit of week by the time we get to the week where AEW is.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it was just a case of Vince put NXT there to try and hound AEW out of business. But the one fault or the minor flaw with that was because he was just basically betting NXT on having action against the established superstars in AEW. I mean, AEW wise, you've got endless talent there. I mean, no offense, we both know that Adam Cole is absolutely brilliant, but he can't do that. Not against, say, Jericho, Moxley, Cody, Kenny Omega. To be fair, I don't even think Raw and SmackDown together would have stars, that big or that high. So, as far as I can see, this is actually, if I may quote Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that's what's best for business.
Well, that, and if they move earlier in the week, they don't have to have the whole ratings battle and dividing fans, so it's better for their product as well.
Which, if I seem to remember correctly, AEW is absolutely near enough one, not every week, but say every 3 and 4 weeks, AEW's won, if not more.
They've been back and forth. The first couple of weeks of AEW, they were pushing back NXT quite a bit to the point that Vince had to actually send like some of his main guys down to NXT, like when Charlotte was down
Yeah, Charlotte went down there,
to,
yeah.
like combat them.
Yeah, Sasha and Bayley went on there for a week or so, didn't they?
Yep. So he had to do that quickly just to like boost the territory. And then they had to send Sasha down there, and Sasha somehow pushed back to AEW at that time.
Right. So, speaking of AEW, shall we go over last night's pay-per-view?
Of course.
We should actually say, I'm not sure if Mike's watched it or not, but I haven't seen any highlights of it. I didn't watch it live because a pay-per-view starting there is like 2-3 in the morning in England here, so it is actually kind of impossible to watch it live. And I haven't seen any highlights of it, so I'm just going off basically what I've seen and read. So that's as far as my analysis goes. I'm not sure if Mike has actually watched it or not.
I haven't watched it, but I heard a lot of what happened.
Yeah. So.
And I heard what happened with Matt Sydal, and there's quite a bit of people defending him now.
I mean, no offense, but it's not as if it was like Owen Hart levels of botching. What we should point out is anybody who doesn't know what we mean by that. Owen Hart, who was a member of the Hart family, he died 21 years ago after would we say a Shawn Michaels-esque stunt backfired a fair bit, and he died on that day. I think that's probably the nearest thing we could probably say. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but didn't Sydal botch his shooting star press on the top rope?
Yeah, he went to do it, and he fell, and a lot of people were poking fun at him about it, and he could have seriously been hurt.
I mean, come on, who hasn't watched WWE or Impact and seen someone actually not so much botch it, but lose the footing or gone a bit further than they thought they would? I mean, remember Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Kaz?
Yeah.
When that whiplash knocked Enzo unconscious, was that a botch or was that just unfortunate timing? Regardless of what the opinion was, they still did it. Obviously they worked through it. It didn't actually start, but they still carried on with it regardless after that match. So it's not as if he literally like shamed AEW's evening. It was just
or like when Brock Lesnar did at Mania. Remember, he did the shooting star press, knocked himself out against Kurt Angle.
How the hell did he not break his neck doing that? I think the worst thing was he's actually done that. Was it OVW he did it or something? It was somewhere down there where he'd done it before.
I mostly remember Mania when he did it, or when Jeff once went for like a whisper in the wind and almost like cracked himself open as well. Like it can happen at any time. People really want to make jokes about it, but he could have been seriously hurt, and the internet would have probably still tried to be funny about it when they shouldn't have.
Speaking of hurting, I wonder how Matt Hardy is this morning.
I heard he had a pretty big injury scare after I think he missed a table.
Yeah, I think he had missed the table and his head hit the concrete like really hard. We're talking sort of, I'm not exactly a doctor, but I would imagine that either he was knocked out or very concussed. So I'm surprised that match went on. But then again, we don't know the ins and outs, do we? We haven't watched it as such. So all we can do is give our opinions and then just go from there, really.
Pretty much all we can do. But from what I heard, they had some pretty great matches that night.
Yeah, Chris Jericho lost his mimosa match. Someone actually went after him on Twitter, actually, for losing to Orange Cassidy.
Really?
Yeah, he literally went off on him. And do you know what Jericho said in reply? It was something on the lines of, fuck off, dipshit. Which is a classic Jericho response nowadays. I mean, this guy actually said that he's betrayed.
I heard
betrayed
Foley
the art.
praised him though.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's not as if he's in WWE and he's going to get buried by every superstar. I mean, no offense, but how did WWF win the Monday Night Wars? They literally started with superstars that they had to have, and they built them up. I mean, that made Triple H, that made Rock, that made Austin. So you can't really make superstars if somebody's not prepared to put them over, which Jericho has done with Orange Cassidy.
Jericho's one of the most giving wrestlers in the business. So many stars. Even Mick Foley went on Twitter and said about him, one of the most giving of all wrestlers, Jericho. He asked not what the wrestling business can do for him. He asked what he can do for the wrestling business. And a lot of guys now wouldn't do that because a lot of them are afraid that some up and comer is going to take their spot.
I think Jericho knows he's 50 and he knows his time is coming towards an end. So if he can establish the up and comers in AEW while he's still there, that's fair enough. I mean, it's not like what WWE did with Matt Hardy when they had him literally lose every week.
They underutilize a lot of talent. There's a ton of guys that really should have reached that next level that the fans kept chanting and screaming for and never got. And I like the AEW is different. I know Cody and friends have the belts, but you kind of have to have established talent having the championships and having the new stars chase them in order to build their name.
Which has literally come full circle now because Brody Lee's got the TNT title. Oh, congratulations to FTR for beating Hangman Page and Kenny Omega last night. It's fast to say that didn't take them long, but I knew it would only be a matter of weeks, not months, before they won those tag titles.
That is true, and it makes them one of the few teams to have held gold in WWE with the tag titles, and now AEW gold.
That's probably, in fact, that's probably record setting, isn't it? What first team that's held tag team titles in both AEW and WWE?
It could be because not many people from other places have gotten it. I know Kaz and Daniels had the tag titles, so there's some of the few that have TNA gold and AEW gold.
What we really need is that one match where we have literally somebody who is kind of like two teams. One has done it in, say, WWE and, I don't know, say New Japan, and someone's done it in Impact and Ring of Honor. And then literally have them come together, and then we can say, right, this is the best tag team in all of pro wrestling.
Be careful, you might have Team 3D show up and try to get some extra tag titles.
Hey, why not? I'm all for welcoming the Bully and the Devon anytime.
Because Jeff and Matt have been WB Tag Team Champions. They've been Impact Tag Team Champions. They've been the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions.
They've literally been every tag champions in America, literally.
Now all of them just need like a WGP gold.
Yeah. Right, so we've done FTR. I must admit, I didn't really read much on the dark matches, so I can't really comment on them. But I must admit, it's nice to see Mrs. Adam Cole, Dr. Britt Baker back.
Yeah, their match was kind of weird. It had to do with like inserting a needle or something?
Oh, God.
From what I was reading, it was a pretty weird gimmick match.
If I want to watch horror, I'll just open Amazon Prime or Netflix for it. I don't want to be watching it on AEW.
It kind of reminds me of like the old school wrestling days where they have like some kind of bizarre gimmick match.
Oh yeah, shall we? Oh yeah, the Young Bucks as well. Because did they win or did they lose?
I think the Young Bucks I think they won last night.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be turning heel, aren't they? Well, that was the rumor that I quickly read up on.
Because the Young Bucks do some of their best work as heels, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would say I've only really seen the Bucks in TNA, so I only know of their matches there. Funnily enough, they actually had their matches with Team 3D, and whereas I can honestly say they were good wrestlers, I've never seen them as heels. So if they're quite known as quite the baby faces, maybe a change of pace, being a heel would actually be a good thing. I mean, look what
They
he's doing
did.
for Roman Reigns.
They did take on the Jurassic. Jurassic Express has gotten pretty popular.
Mm.
It's
Oh yeah,
amazing because I remember seeing the Bucks when they were trying to get into ROH, working dark matches and stuff in Mississauga, and it's interesting seeing like what a long way they've come. All the tag titles they've gotten since those days.
yeah.
It's almost like a completely different tag team.
It's almost like a newer version of Team 3D, isn't it?
Pretty much. I remember when people were used to chant at them, that called them the Hardy Boys. So it's pretty funny that now they have like crazy amount of reigns. They're almost like new Team 3D.
Well, I do know that this next match has been very eager to look forward to because it's Shida versus Thunder Rosa, which is basically it's basically a clash of champions from different promotions, so to speak.
Yep, AEW versus NWA. I feel like the only thing that was missing from this show was like Brutus Magnus showing up at the end and
Yeah.
like staring down Moxley.
Oh, that would actually. Hey, careful! You might get your wish at some point. We seem to be
I
having a lot
hope.
of. We seem to be having a lot of wishes nowadays, don't we?
Hey, you gotta. With more companies, it brings more dream matches and brings more wrestling to the fans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Dark Order versus we'll say Team Cody, even though it was more like Team Rhodes. I'm actually glad that went the way it went. And by the way, when I say the way it went, I seem to remember that Team Dustin won. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
they won last night. The Dark Order pretty much were eating some losses last night.
It's nice. I tell you what, I did quickly have time to see was Brandy Rhodes absolutely hammering. Is it Anna Jay? It is, isn't it? She's a Dark Order's. I'll say the female. I'm sure it's Anna Jay. Yeah, she absolutely nailed her with a super kick or like a bro kick. It was a kick, but it was just like wow.
AEW definitely knows how to do all the big spots when it comes down to it, and some of them can sell at such a level.
Yeah. I've got to talk about this last one because I've absolutely never been so entertained in the Twitter aftermath ever. It was MGF versus Mox, and it was actually I was kind of glad that Mox won, but I must admit I have the utmost respect for the way he won.
I saw that actually when him and MJF were going at it, where he picks up the ring and everything, and he's about to look up, and he sees Moxley right there.
Oh, this was even. I'd say what was funny. I've got just trying to find that. I've got a tweet here where Mrs. Moxley said, this was last night. She says, very excited to watch my handsome husband beat the hell out of that dork MJF. So afterwards, MJF tweeted back to her and said, your husband cheated in the match like a coward. So she went, this is a man's game, babe. You'll get there one day. I am like, call the doctor. We have a 4th-degree burn here.
It was the best tweet ever.
Renee
Like,
Young,
if you could give someone a title belt for that burn, then
yeah,
I'm pretty sure they pull the belt off Shido.
That burn will take some burning. So Renee, if you're ever around, you are more than welcome to come on here, and we will give you the honorary guest role. In fact, we'll give you the honorably guest host role because you are that great of a host. Hey, maybe we should get her. True. We need to get her in a slinging match with Gully and see who wins.
I don't know. I feel like John Moxley would be like bursting on the scene, and then things would get hectic.
But yes, congrats, Marks. Hope you keep it for another 6 months, maybe even to a year. I really hope that that Mox is kind of like the trendsetter. I know Jericho sort of was the inaugural champion and had it for a few months, but I hope Mox kind of has a reign that defines him as a proper champion. So he holds it for, I don't know, maybe a year, and then it's kind of a struggle to match that afterwards.
Well, so far, Moxley does have a lot of opportunities since he's a dual champion as the IWGP US champ and AEW champion. He has a lot of opportunities to defend the belt in different locations now. He could really take it back to the days when we'd see the WWF title being defended everywhere else. Heck, even Impact was doing that when AJ Styles was world champion, when he was going into Mexico and Japan and everywhere. And I feel like that's what we need now more than ever.
Yeah, I think we should round up the AEW action there. And oh yes, we have a new Impact World Champion. So congratulations to the EUI. It's been long overdue after, let's be honest, a very difficult time in WWE for him. Excuse me. I'm kind of glad that he's got that title back because a lot of guys who came over from Impact to WWE haven't really been used that well. I mean, let's face it, you and I can probably agree that Samoa Joe should have been champion by now.
Bobby Roode should have been having more title reigns as well.
Yeah, and not just tag titles. They've both got times in them still where they can be champion. But it's just, well, granted, Joe's a good commentator, but I miss the Samoan submission machine. I miss the hardness on the mic that he's got when he actually eyeballed Brock Lesnar and actually had a right go at him. It's like that's what I miss.
The Joe chance.
I miss the Joe's going to kill you chance. It's just a shame. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, do we really think he's a free agent? I don't think he is.
He's protected. Vince would throw anything to keep Brock Lesnar off any other TV show. Like when Brock went to Japan, I heard it was a bit of a fiasco because Vince was pushing to keep Brock. I think Brock was still under contract, and then he picked up the IWGP World title.
Yeah, as long as Vince still feels there's money to be made off him, they can say he's a free agent, but everyone who's got half a brain in the wrestling community knows he's not. I mean, there is no way in hell Vince would let him go to AEW. I don't even think Impact could afford him, to be honest.
Probably not, but I feel like this would be a good time for Brock to go elsewhere and start elevating more companies.
Yeah, I just can't see him going to AEW. You're trying to build a franchise. You're not trying to dismantle it by hiring the guy who, granted, the reduced schedule would be perfect for him, but for a fact Vince ain't gonna let him go, no matter what.
Of course, I would love to see Brock show up in Impact and take on Moose.
I would, or even what's his name? Not Ethan. Falabar, that's it. Because could you imagine that match?
It would be a lot of fun to watch.
It'd be even worse than Lesnar and Big Show. He's like, how do I pick up this guy? Oh, I can't because he's going to bring me back every time I pick him up. Oh, right. So, should we move on to WWE stuff?
Yeah, we can move on to WWE.
It is so weird.
Oh, wait, I gotta deal with one more thing for Impact. The Motor City Machine Guns have challenged the Rascals.
Which more than likely the Rascals will accept because no one's going to say no to a free title shot, are they? Let's be honest.
Nope, and especially against the MCMG, this is the perfect time to have all eyes on you and to take it to the next level.
Oh yeah, just before we carry on, if nobody doesn't know what we've been getting up to this week, we've probably had the best week of our wrestling lives.
It has been amazing.
It has. I interviewed Impact X Division champion Rahit Raju, absolutely lovely guy, and I can't wait to either interview him or have him on here. He's such a class guy, you wouldn't believe it. And we actually had ourselves a bit of a chat on Friday night, didn't we? Well, Friday night for me, Friday morning for you, didn't we?
Yeah. It's awesome. Simon's amazing.
We should point out that the guy we're on about is someone that I've known for nearly a decade. And if there's anything that Impact needs doing in the UK, he is their guy to deal with. So
that is true.
Yeah, he has literally helped TNA grow in the UK from what it was when it originally started to where it actually is now. I honestly, if you ever need anything doing that he can do, go and tweet Simon Rothstein at SRX Consultancy, and he will sort you out. I was actually quite worried because over in England we have a company called CRX and his is called SRX. I was kind of like, oh God, please don't let me say C, please. That would have been so embarrassing. So yeah, well, hopefully we might even have a special guest next week. We hope. We're not saying anything, but we might have a special guest next week. Only time will tell. So hopefully next week there will be not be two of us, not be three of us. There will be four of us. So what else have we got on the docket tonight, then, sir? Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
OAP's been released. Now that is not only a shocker, but that is gutting.
The Authors of Pain were really big when they first started showing up, and I'm surprised they were like, oh.
I don't think a tag team has ever really come to me in such a terms of Legion of Doom styleness like they did, because they were big strapping guys. They had the look, they had the talent, they had the power, and I see why they've released them, because one reason they both have been put on since March. They're kind of like the yin and yang. If one's healthy, one's injured, and vice versa. So they haven't really had that much time as a tag team on Raw because one of them's been injured. So it's literally a case of you're paying two guys for one injury, literally. So I know why they let them go, but I hope they'll find work, because they're too talented not to find work.
They'll get caught up really fast. The minute their 90-day no-compete clause is up, someone's going to scoop them up instantly.
My money's for either Impact or AEW.
I would like to see them go to Impact, because some of the Good Brothers would have amazing matches.
Ooh, that would be a good match, actually. Motor City Machine Guns wouldn't know what bloody hit them.
Nope, but it'd be interesting to see how they'd figure a way to take them down.
It would. Right, so, oh yes, the golden role models are no more. I must just say, we're kind of glad, because we knew this would happen.
It was bound to happen.
Even before we started, we knew this was going to happen, because obviously they've been sowing the seeds for months. Obviously, Sasha lost the War Belt, they lost the tag team titles, and that was it. They had Bayley go full berserk on her. I think she went a bit more berserk than I actually thought she would.
I did call it, though, that Bayley was going to turn on Sasha, though. I called that, like...
I actually thought Sasha was going to be the one who turned, but I submit to your wiser wisdom, sir.
Bayley's ego is way too big not to take Sasha out. It's funny because when everything originally started, when we saw Bayley and Sasha was the one with the giant ego.
Yeah.
And Bayley was the more modest one, and now Bayley's just out of control.
So how long do we think we're going to leave it before Sasha comes back? Bearing in mind, Bayley did a number on her.
I give her a month. They'll let it cool off for a month, and then Sasha's going to retaliate.
I think Night Clash of Champions might be a bit too early. Maybe a pay-per-view that is in October might be a better bet. Because no offense, but she did a knee in. She literally could have crushed the neck. You're not going to come back after a month just for that. It's going to need at least 6 weeks, maybe 2 months.
Maybe 3 if they really want to sell it and have Bayley talking for months about how she brutalized Sasha, show like a couple of x-rays here and there, replay the footage,
She probably
really play up how...
She'd probably play off that and say, we were never pals, she was my insurance, and like everything in life, the insurance policy ran out. I had no further use for her.
Because I feel like if they let Bayley do that enough times, she'll get major heat, and then when Sasha returns, they're gonna have something interesting on their hands.
I know we didn't really discuss this, but who should really step up to the plate? Because I still think Naomi should have a shot.
Naomi has all the in-ring skill. I think she would give Bayley the ultimate challenge. But I think they should have other stars step up. Like Natalya hasn't really got anything big going on. I feel like this would be good for like Tamina to step in.
Yeah, Tamina would
and become that powerhouse.
Yeah, the only problem is Natalya's on Raw kicking getting a beehive kicked by a certain Miss James. Sorry, Mrs. James, because she's married. So apologies. I actually think for the time being, it should really be Naomi, because after all, we had Karaoke Gate, didn't we? And that was just preposterous.
Yeah, that was a complete disaster.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I don't know if there is a lot out there, but I personally think they should at least give her a shot just for that debacle. I mean, if you want to give Lacey Evans one as well, fair enough. Just to, or have a transitional champion until say Bayley gets it back, and then when Sasha comes back. But I think Bayley has had too much of a reign already. It's way too long. It's almost like Brock Lesnar length, and that's just too much.
Yeah, but now it's the perfect time to build up that star to defeat her and to take the belt away, because whoever is going to get like that major on the back, need to keep pressing forward.
All right, so if it's not Naomi, who should it be?
I'm kind of surprised they haven't gone with Alexa Bliss, because usually they can't wait to just put the belt on her right away. I kind of want to see Nikki Cross do it.
Yeah, but Nikki's had a shot though, hasn't she?
Yep, but I think she could do it again. I could see Bayley toying with her the next couple of weeks, underestimating her as like a challenger, and then bring Naomi into the works, and then have the 3 of them go at it.
Yeah. What I would actually like to see how this whole transformation of Alexa is going, how it pans out. Because you know for a fact, if she is going to be the other member of the 5-hour Funhouse, you know she's going after that title.
Well, she'll get over instantly.
So we'll see how that pans out, whether it's solid or not. Now, I must admit, I know there was a SmackDown Contenders match as well. I did not expect Jey Uso to win that. I
didn't think he was.
I was pretty sure that Big E was going to win it, or Sheamus even. I didn't think Jey Uso would. I mean, don't get me wrong.
The question is, do you think they'll actually put the belt on him, though?
No. I can pretty much put my hand on in fact, I will put my hand on my heart, if I can find it, and say they will never give him that belt. Not while Roman Reigns is champion, not while he's sort of doing the Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, only doing it a hell of a lot better, and not when you probably have a Fiend lined up as well. Because no offense, a Fiend against Jey Uso match is going to be a bit lopsided, isn't it?
It would go really bad for Jey. I feel like they're gonna have Reigns run through his family just to really get across this new gimmick that even blood or water or gold Roman Reigns does what Roman Reigns wants type of thing.
Yeah, I did see the conversation he had. He was still pretty friendly with Jey, but I wonder if they're gonna play it as, you know, he's good with family, but when family gets in the way of work, then they're not family at all.
It's probably going to be as soon as that bell goes, that tide's gone.
That's it. I don't think Roman would have it any other way. I don't think Jay would have it any other way. All right, I tell you what, I did watch something the other day, and even if Big E did have the victory, would it have been too soon for him?
No, I think it would have been a really good time for him. I feel like Sheamus would have worked his way in or cost him the title shot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want him to be US champion before he goes that far. But then again, I've always been a fan of working your way from the bottom upwards. But just see how it pans out. I mean, he might finish his program with Sheamus first, and then we can see how that goes.
Sheamus is probably the best person for him to work right now too, because they both have similar styles when it comes to hard hitting, and one's more serious and one's a mix of playful and seriousness when it comes down to it. Right now, this is the perfect storyline for Sheamus.
Just depends if they mess it up, which more than likely WWE will, let's be honest.
Yeah, they probably are going to. I'm hoping it comes down to like a parking lot brawl.
Because that would, well, mind you, we've had a bar fight, haven't we? So we can't have that. We could have like an Irish street fight.
Yeah, but they underutilize a lot of their old matches. Like when JBL and Cena had that parking lot brawl match, that was amazing. Like that felt like an actual fight. And I feel like since Sheamus is this whole brawler gimmick, doing whatever to win, I feel like this would help get Big E over too.
I'm not going to argue with that on there. I don't want Big E have it being on such a run and then it being ruined just by one really bad decision. That is what my biggest worry for him is.
Well, with AEW pretty much in the rearview mirror, like they're gonna catch up quickly. They kind of can't afford to drop the storyline when it comes to Biggie, because a lot of people have been waiting for this moment for him.
Yeah, I must admit I've been one of them, because it's like you see when he was Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard, and you saw how much presence he had. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love that he was in the New Day, but he felt like he could have done so much before then, and the New Day's just kind of held him back, even though that could be said, but then again, the argument could be said that they've made history while they've been together, but Big E was long overdue for a singles push, way before Kofi was. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think the New Day helped him get back in the swing of things, because for a while, all three of them didn't really have much going on. Yeah. Besides, Biggie's been IC champion, NXT champion. So I could argue that the New Day is what got Biggie back into the swing of things with the fans, or else he might have been forgotten.
I can see that as well. I really miss Mike, I just really expect him to come in with his usual input, and then just everything will make a bit more sense. But I must admit, it is a bit hard without him tonight.
It's okay. We'll make his job more difficult when he comes back.
Yeah, he's got to go in the Gully promo yet, so he's got the worst deal out of us. Believe me. What else do we want to talk about tonight?
We could talk about the IC title situation with Jeff and Sami Zayn.
Oh yes, I meant to bring that up. Oh god, this can just be another. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know why Sami is the way he is, because he lost the Intercontinental title, even though he didn't lose it, and now he wants it. But I just really think he should have stayed a manager, because I've never rated him as a wrestler. Every time they go to Canada where he is, and they just like bring him out, big reaction. That's not what wrestling should be. Wrestling should be entertaining the fans, everywhere, and making people think, yes, he's a good wrestler for who he is, not for put him in his hometown and he'll get the biggest pop. That's just not how it works for me.
Sami's had a long climb too. Like remember how short his NXT title reign was, and then when he was doing the when Cena had the U.S. Open Challenge, and he had that amazing match against Cena. It's been Sami Zayn's probably had one of the longest climbs in a while in the company to get the IC title, and for the way it ended is pretty sad because he's really entertaining. When he's a good guy, he's probably one of the best ones, but I can't get on board with him as a heel. Like I
I
don't.
can. I absolutely despise him when he's a heel. And when I say despise him, I actually mean like I physically want to reach through the TV and punch him, which is what your heel is supposed to be like.
Because like I know him mostly as El Generico when he was on the Indies and he wasn't really talking and he was doing like the Brain Buster and everything.
Yeah. His best matches that he had was with Kevin Owens.
Yep. I'll never forget when Kevin Owens first showed up and Zayn won the belt and Owens took him apart.
Yep, Owens betrayed him. Oh, yes. Can we move on to the main topic?
Of course.
It's actually caused a bit of, well, I'm not quite sure what the word would be. I don't suppose controversy is quite right, but it has divided. Yeah, it's divided a lot of opinion. I mean, what has happened this week, in case anybody has been living under a rock and doesn't know, is that Vince McMahon has now barred his WWE superstars from using third-party platforms like YouTube, Twitch, was it YouTube, Twitch, everything like that. So the social platform you can think of, he's basically saying you're not allowed to do it. So basically, what he's doing is he's basically going to people like Selena Vega, to Paige, who have their own Twitch pages. Xavier Woods has got his own up, down, down show. What he's basically saying is you are not allowed to do them for whatever reason. I know there's been a few reasons why what's happened. I think Lana's commercial was one reason, allegedly. But is it a case of it's going too far? I mean, this has even attracted interest from one of the presidential candidates, who's actually basically accused man of, in so many words, slavery, and it's not fair. And he's actually issued a warning as well. He says if he gets into office, Vince McMahon will have to answer for his crimes against everyone, because even though, and I'm not quite sure I've got this, I might have this right, I just want to make sure I'm not something like a total ass, but WWE hires everyone under independent contractors. So it's not like in normality where you basically work for a company, they pay you your check, you get everything, this, that, and the other, and then you basically out when your work is finished, you are still you. That's not what happens with WWE, which I think needs to be sorted out. Because if you're an independent contractor, then why can't you work for anyone other than WWE? If you work for WWE, then you should literally be a workplace employee.
Because in WWE, they don't have a union, which is kind of ridiculous at the rate that they talk about the WWE family, but anyone can be replaced at any time. Remember, a lot of guys got over because of YouTube. Like Zack Ryder is probably the best example of someone using social media to elevate himself to the next level. Like Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, Matt Hardy.
Zelina Vega. Yeah, Zelina Vega has her own Twitch channel, which she streams on every night, and I still need to actually look at it, because I actually saw her do a little video where she recited every single Pokemon there was, and I just instantly fell in love. I hope Alistair Black's not watching, because they are married, and I don't want a black mass to my head. But yeah, it's a bit contradictory, isn't it? This whole thing.
Well, if they really wanted to, they could have just got all the wrestlers to do that on the WWE app. They could have done more shows, like when Edge and Christian had a show, if they really wanted this. And then now that it's getting so much attention, which is odd, because didn't Vince tweet out congratulating Xavier Woods?
Yes, yeah, that's the other thing. There might actually be another reason why, because like I say, I've only caught this at a 5-second glance, but maybe WWE is sort of starting up their own, which is why Vince doesn't want them to do it. And it's pretty bold to say that to someone, like, you have a month to officially stop using the names that are associated with our property. in a month. I mean, all Paige has done is just change the name to a real name. That's her sorted. Liv Morgan has a different problem because Liv Morgan is actually her proper name, so she is well and truly, buggered.
It's odd though because like a lot of people who don't watch wrestling and they go and watch the streams and like them and then learn about that they're in the WWE. I figure that helps the product more because it just brings even more eyes. And when you see like Xavier doing like moves from video games, like with Kenny Omega, he was doing like the V trigger and stuff.
I mean, Zelina Vega she does Twitch every night. How many of those people that watch her on Monday nights or on pay-per-views that they normally wouldn't do? There's probably a fair few thousand, let's be honest.
Probably. So I don't know. I see it as them elevating the product itself because you see them in more places. Like Xavier's going to go on. People want him for what was it? Tech 4 TV,
something like
as a host, and like everyone's backing him. So if he goes on, like, are they going to put the kibosh on that too? Even though it's going to help elevate his name, make him a bigger star for the company, and bring more eyes onto the WWE.
Renee Young actually made me laugh because I actually wrote somewhere that when that went down, bearing in mind this is literally probably a day or two after she left, she was like, right, I'll just go and set up my YouTube and Twitch accounts. I want her to be the first member into our Hall of Fame. I'm not even saying anybody else. She's going in there just for the day that I've had looking at her on Twitter and making me laugh and making me just laugh.
You heard it here, Hall of Fame status.
Already.
One tweet.
Yeah, one tweet that has given a Hall of Famer status already. And we're only, 4 episodes in?
Bodyslams and Dropkicks official.
Exclusive.
The first.
Right. Shall we just end it on a Renee Paquette note then?
Yeah, we'll end it on a positive note here.
We'll end it on a laughing note because honestly, I have never laughed so much in my life. Hold on, if I can be the first job to our manager, right? Get us an interview with Renee Paquette. The minute she goes, "Who's that?" I'll say she's Mrs. John Moxley. Oh yeah, okay. She knows who John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, is. She's seen him, so there we are. That's our goal for the rest of this year, to get Renee on here.
And for her to drop another sick burn on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I'll just say, is there anyone in your husband's? In fact, you could do it on here. You could say, is anybody who your husband's fighting recently that you would like to say anything in the relevance of a tweet about?
They just got to get Renee on TV each week and just have her read out her sick burns on Twitter.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Oh, that would just be so right. We'll end it on that because she's bringing this up. It's actually making me literally bringing tears to my eyes because that's how much I've been laughing all day about it.
Is there anything you want to plug in here, Dean?
Only catch us here every Sunday, and if you haven't already, catch our interview and our podcast from this week with the X Division champion and my good friend Simon Rothstein. Handles wise, if you count this podcast, I have 3 on Twitter now. I have this, I have Final Cut Reviews, and I have Final Cut Talk. I'm on Instagram under Final Cut, and I'm on Facebook under Final Cut Reviews. I don't really use it that much, but if you ever want to chat on Twitter or anything, feel free to inbox me or inbox us on any of the podcasts.
You can find me on Twitter at 5-Star Wildcard, where I'll be talking about wrestling and comic books and movies. You can find me on Instagram as Beautiful Michael. You can find us on Twitter as Bodyslams and Dropkicks,
which we will attempt to put all the links in the description below. So on that, yep, carry on. It's your show, I forgot.
And on that, we'll ring the final bell, and we'll see you soon.
See you next week.